It's the middle of the night. The house is silent. You've just settled into bed after that last feeding, your eyes heavy, when suddenly you hear it. A giggle. You freeze. You listen again, and there it is, coming from the crib. A soft, unmistakable laugh in the darkness. If you're a parent, you know this moment. It's equal parts adorable and unsettling. You creep toward the crib, half expecting to see wide-awake eyes staring back at you, but instead, your baby is fast asleep. Eyes closed, breathing slow, and yet, they're laughing. What is happening? Is your baby dreaming? Are they seeing something you can't see? And why does this always seem to happen at 3 a.m.? Today, we're going to answer that question. And the answer isn't ghosts or magic. It's something far more fascinating. It's neuroscience. Let's start with what every parent observes. Sometime between the deepest hours of the night, usually between 2 and 4 a.m., your baby will occasionally laugh, smile, or even squeal while appearing completely asleep. If you've experienced this, you know the feeling. It's mysterious. It can even feel a little eerie. Some cultures have folklore about babies laughing at spirits or unseen visitors, and in the quiet of 3 a.m., it's easy to let your mind wander to those explanations. But here's the truth that modern neuroscience has uncovered. That 3 a.m. laughter is not random. It's not a glitch, and it's certainly not something to be afraid of. In fact, neurologically speaking, it's one of the most remarkable signs of healthy brain development that you'll ever witness. What you're hearing is the sound of a young brain doing something extraordinary. It's a moment where two normally separate states of consciousness, dreaming and waking, briefly overlap. And in that overlap, something beautiful happens. To understand why babies laugh in their sleep, we first have to understand how a baby's brain is different from an adult's. In adults, sleep is relatively organized. We cycle through stages, light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep in predictable patterns. And crucially, when we're in REM sleep, the stage where dreaming happens, our bodies are essentially paralyzed. This is called atonia. It's a built-in safety mechanism that keeps us from physically acting out our dreams. But a baby's brain? It hasn't fully built that system yet. In infants, the boundaries between sleep states are fluid. Their brains are still learning how to regulate transitions, and this is especially true during the early months when the brain is growing at a rate of over 1 million neural connections per second. Now here's where the 3 a.m. laughter comes in. Between 2 and 4 a.m., a baby's sleep cycle naturally transitions from deep sleep back into REM sleep. But because their brain's sleep architecture is still immature, they don't always make a clean transition. Instead, they enter what neuroscientists call a hybrid state. This is a unique neurological condition where the baby is technically in REM sleep, meaning their brain is actively dreaming, but fragments of waking perception leak through. What does that mean practically? It means that while your baby is dreaming, their brain is also partially processing real-world sensory input from the room. The shadow of a curtain moving in the breeze, the ceiling fan rotating slowly, the soft glow of a nightlight casting patterns on the wall. To an adult brain, these are just ordinary objects, but to a baby's developing visual system, these are high-contrast shapes and patterns, exactly the kind of stimuli their brain is wired to find fascinating. And when those real-world images blend with the content of a dream, something remarkable happens. The baby's brain interprets the combination as something joyful, something surprising, something worth laughing at. And because their body isn't fully paralyzed during sleep the way an adult's is, that laughter becomes physical. You hear it, the giggle, the smile, sometimes even a full-body wiggle. This is not a sign of distress, it's not a seizure, it's not a ghost. It is, quite literally, your baby's brain practicing the experience of joy. Let's pause on that idea for a moment. Practicing joy. When we think about infant development, we often focus on physical milestones, rolling over, sitting up, walking. We think about language, first words, babbling. But what we don't always realize is that emotional expression is also a skill that the brain must learn. A baby isn't born knowing how to laugh. They aren't born knowing how to process surprise, delight, or amusement. These are neural circuits that have to be built through repetition and experience.
Every time your baby laughs, whether awake or asleep, they are strengthening the connections in the anterior cingulate cortex and the limbic system, the neural regions responsible for emotional processing and reward. The 3 a.m. laughter is particularly special because it represents a moment where the brain is practicing this emotional response without any external trigger. There's no toy, no funny face, no tickle. Instead, the baby's own brain is generating the stimulus and generating the response, all while the body rests. This is a sign of rapidly maturing brain. It tells you that the neural architecture for joy is being built. It tells you that the systems for recognizing incongruity, for experiencing surprise, for expressing delight, they are all coming online. In other words, when you hear that 3 a.m. giggle, you are listening to your baby's brain wiring itself for joy. Now, I want to speak directly to the parents watching this. If you've ever heard that nighttime giggle and felt a flicker of unease, I want you to let that go. Because here's what that sound actually means for your baby and for you. It means your baby feels safe. Think about it. Laughter, even in sleep, is a response that only happens when the nervous system is in a state of calm. A baby who feels threatened, who is in pain, who is stressed, that baby does not laugh. Laughter requires the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode, to be active. When your baby laughs at 3 a.m., it means that despite the strange hybrid state their brain is in, their underlying emotional state is one of security. They are in an environment where their nervous system feels regulated enough to express joy. And here's the deeper layer. That sense of safety comes from you. By responding to your baby during the day, by holding them, by making eye contact, by soothing them when they cry, you are literally building the foundation of their emotional regulation. You are teaching their nervous system that the world is safe, that they are protected, and that safety carries into sleep. It's why their brain can afford to be playful even in the middle of the night, because deep down, in the most primitive parts of their developing brain, they know, I am okay, I am cared for, I am safe. So, the next time you creep to the crib at 3 a.m. and hear that tiny giggle in the darkness, don't be unsettled. Smile, because what you're hearing isn't a mystery. It's not something to fear. It's the sound of a human brain building itself, one joyful moment at a time. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe for more insights into the fascinating neuroscience behind your baby's development. We're decoding the hidden brain science behind everything from staring at walls to babbling to that first real smile. And if you've heard your baby laugh in their sleep, drop a comment below. I'd love to know, what time was it? And what did you think was happening before you knew the science? Thanks for watching. Sleep well, both of you.